So before I begin, please don't think that anything I suggest today is a hard and fast rule. As a writer, it's important to do the things that suit your own style and fit with your process. If anything doesn't work for you, don't force yourself to use it. But remember that the most acclaimed books are frequently ones that bend language and structure to breaking point. Enjoy writing for the sake of it. And if one thing in this workshop benefits you, I see that as a win. With that out of the way, welcome to my workshop, where we'll consider tools to help us build a character from scratch and what we need to do to turn them from flat, two-dimensional characters into living, breathing vehicles for our stories. We'll be doing some exercises this hour, so you'll need something to write on to get the most from your participation. If we have time after, you will be invited to share what you've created, but as Sam said earlier, never feel that you have to share anything if you don't want to. It's about having fun and supporting each other. Alternatively, you can use the Alternatively, you can use the chat function for character sketches, your thoughts on the exercises, and any questions you might want to ask when it's over. Now, are there any questions, Sam, that have already come up that I need to answer? Nope. Then we'll go on to the next slide. There are various ways to create a character, and writers frequently switch between them or use aspects of each method for a single character. You can use aspects of your own experiences and personality. After all, who do we know better than ourselves? Gustave Flaubert was famously quoted as saying, Madame Bovary, c'est moi. You might base your character on people you know or famous figures. However, if you do so, it would be prudent to disguise them so you don't wake up to a lawsuit or an angry neighbour bashing down your door. Or we can pull characters from our imaginations. And I'm going to offer you some tools that can help inspire that process. Are there any questions yet, Sam? Okay, I'll be doing that each time, by the way, people. Right, move on to the next one. Okay, so after I finish speaking, I'm going to put my timer on for 2 minutes to allow you some time to work through this. So it's time to use that paper and pen or whatever it is you use and choose one of these photos on the screen. And you're going to jot down some information about the character that the photo suggests and inspires. Now, we're not talking about physical description. We're talking about who that person is. I don't know if everyone's got the same problem, but on my slide, some of the pictures are missing. I don't know if we can reorganize. Right. Sorry about that then, people.
No, we can see them. It's fine.
Oh, you can see them. Oh, good. Thank you. Okay. So, yeah, allow your imagination to fill in any details that aren't visible. Give them a name. How old are they? What do they do for a living? Are they a high school dropout? Do they have a PhD? Do they have any brothers or sisters? Do they have a close relationship with their family? And who are the important people in their life? Is it found family, friends? Are they married, romantically involved, or single? Do they have any scars or tattoos? What are they good at? What do they find difficult? What trauma or significant events have they lived through? Do they keep secrets? Right, I'm going to pop it on. So you've got 2 minutes to play with that.
Can we just ask a quick question? Is it okay to choose our own character rather than use any of the photos?
Absolutely. Like you said at the start, I mean, this is to help you. If you've got a character in mind, use that. But these are prompts if you don't. That's 2 minutes up. So yeah, I find this a really useful process if I'm creating a character from scratch. I mean, with Google these days, you can look for photographs of all different people's faces, or you might find them in a book. And it does, I think we make some snap judgments when we meet people in person, and this can have the same effect, but you're going deeper. Come on. Why isn't
We have a few more minutes to work through some of those later ones. Is that okay?
Yes, we've got plenty of time.
Maybe another 2 minutes, just because I'm only halfway through. I don't know about anyone else.
Okay, Sam, if you shout at me when we're ready to go on.
Oh no, it's going to be depending on me. Other people in the chat as well, say when you're ready to go. People saying 1 minute. A bit more time. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I built plenty of time into this, so we're fine. And what I'll do is I'll set the next 2-minute exercise for 4 minutes straight up.
I'm finished. Are
Yeah.
you good to go, guys, do you think? Just check in the chat. I'm gonna, unless anyone objects, I'm gonna say done. Okay, done. Yeah.
Okay. So a quote from Fight Club says, "The things you own end up owning you." Whether or not you agree with that, the things that we own often reveal stuff about us. So pick between 4 and 8 things that your character owns. Don't feel limited by these pictures. Only use them if they help you. And jot down these positions. Now, if you were doing this independently at home at a later time, you could answer the questions for each object, which might reveal some contradictory elements of your character, which are really useful. But because our time here is limited, we'll group the items that you choose together for now and ask ourselves what this collection of belongings tells us about their owner. Are they calm, excitable, introvert, extrovert, a thinker or a doer? What are their hobbies? Where do they go on holiday? Are they left wing, right wing, or centrist? Are they a risk taker? What are they afraid of? Are there any quirks in their personality? And keep going until you build a clear picture of who your character is, what they care about, and what it will take to make or break them during your story. Okay, so I'm going to allow 4 minutes, and I'll mute myself during that time. That's 4 minutes. Does anyone need longer?
No one's saying so in the chat.
Fantastic. We'll go on to the next one then. So keep your notes handy. This will be using your character for the rest of this workshop. If you want to jot down 2 or 3 things about them in the chat, feel free to do so. If you found this process useful and you think you'll repeat it, pop it in the chat. And if you have other methods that you want to share, feel free to add them to the chat as well. And are there any questions yet, Sam?
Nope.
Okay, I should go on to the next one then. Right. Okay, so we're going to be allowing 5 minutes on top of this, but after 5 minutes, I'll check whether you're finished. Okay, ready. Now, I'd like you to write a really quick description of your character's physical attributes, but keep it under 100 words. So to do this, you have to really consider what the reader needs to know and what you'll leave for their imagination to fill in. For example, is your character's eye colour important? It is often the first thing we notice about people, but if your character's narrating the story, is it something we need to know? And with clothing, if their clothing reveals an aspect of their personality, it could earn its place in your description. I included a short passage from Goodbye to Berlin, where the narrator describes a woman by her hands and face. It's under 100 words, and I think it really reveals a lot. So I'm going to read that out as well. As she dialed the number, I noticed that her fingernails were painted emerald green, a colour unfortunately chosen, for it called attention to her hands, which were much stained by cigarette smoking and as dirty as a little girl's. She was dark enough to be Fritz's sister. Her face was long and thin, powdered dead white. She had very large brown eyes, which should have been darker to match her hair and the pencil she used for her eyebrows. Okay, so I am going to mute and put the timer on for 5 minutes. Have fun. Okay, that's 5 minutes. Do you need any longer?
I probably do, but I am notoriously slow. Everyone, all good here from Amy. Anyone else? And settle this. All good from everyone else. No, okay.
Okay, do another 2 minutes.
No, it's all good to go for everyone but me.
Okay, thank you. You can always finish up later, can't you, Sam? Okay, so the reason why I asked you to keep the physical description short is because a detailed portrait of a character's appearance is static, as lifeless as an oil painting, more lifeless than Dorian Gray's. While the tiniest detail of your character would be vital for you to know as a writer, most of that will never be shared explicitly with your reader. Characters come alive when we reveal them through action. What do they do and how do they do it? What do they say and how do they say it? Why do they do or say it in that particular way? And what will that reveal to the reader about who your character is and what they want and how far they are willing to go to get it? I would read the quote, but I can't see it behind the thing. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to read E.M. Forster's quote. It's nice big text there. So even if you're looking at a small device, you should be able to read it okay. I'll just check the chat.
Shall I just read it out so that people who can't
see that would be lovely. Thank you, Sam.
A character is real when the novelist knows everything about it. He may not choose to tell us all he knows. Many of the facts, even of the kind we call obvious, may be hidden. But he will give us the feeling that though the character has not been explained, it is explicable.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right.
Are there any characters, any questions at the minute, Sam?
Nope.
Perfect. I'll move on then. Okay. Don't judge your characters. Nurture them all so that they behave authentically on the page. Know and love them, even your villains. Because, in the words of Mary Shelley, no man chooses evil because it is evil. He only mistakes it for happiness, the good he seeks. Okay, we got another exercise. Pen, paper, and character details at the ready. I'll be giving you 5 minutes after I finish speaking, and then I'll check that you're all okay. So you have 5 minutes to draft a short scene where your character returns home to discover that the love of their life has married someone else, and that person is caught in an unhappy marriage. As you're writing, consider what they do, how they do it, why they do it in that way, and what motivation lies behind their actions. So I'm going to put the timer on for 5 minutes. Okay, that's 5 minutes. Does anyone need longer?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, then. So when the workshop finishes, well, probably not at the end of today, but at some point in the next few weeks, take some time to think about how much you showed in that short piece through action and dialogue, and how much you told. Are you happy with that balance? If not, rewrite it. It's only a first draft. Emotional moments tend to have more impact when they are shown rather than told. If the story you are writing uses a lot of inner monologue, try writing an emotionally significant scene while silencing the character's thoughts. Attempt to reveal the inner turmoil and internal changes using only action and dialogue. Okay. Are there any questions? Perfect. Okay, here we go. So next, we're going to think about backstory. Your living, breathing character has a life before, and assuming you don't kill them off, after your story begins and ends. Some of it will be important and relevant enough to make it onto the page as a flashback or in dialogue, and other parts might be hinted at through their behavior now, but most will never be revealed to the reader. So, if there's trauma in your character's past, do you write it in a prologue, include everything about it in a single flashback, or use a trail of breadcrumbs to suggest to your reader what lies deep inside the forest of your character's mind? If you use the breadcrumb trail, it can either be used to foreshadow a later reveal, or it can be employed successfully without a full reveal. There's a great resource, and I will have a list of resources at the end, so you don't need to make a note of it now if you don't want to, but there is a great resource by Ackerman and Puglisi called The Emotional Wound Thesaurus. And in there, they detail how different past traumas affect current behavior. And it is a fantastic resource for understanding how particular traumas make people act. Just check, see if there's any questions. Right, no. Next page. So scars, stretch marks, wrinkles, teeth, even tattoos can tell the story of a person's or a living, breathing character's past. A person's relationship with their body can be very revealing. Consider it whether your character is happy in their own skin, or whether they try to hide or accentuate parts of it. Go on to the next one, unless there's any questions.
I don't think so, but maybe could you give us a moment to write some quick notes or ideas so that we've
yes, absolutely.
making the most of these prompts. 2 minutes, guys, do you think? That'd be okay?
2 minutes, no problem.
Eric's just asking for the name of that book you were recommending, Camilla. Thank you. Excellent. Tabitha's got it. Thank you, Eggy Soldiers.
Okay, we'll move on, but these slides will all be available anyway afterwards. And if anyone has any questions, my website will be up at the end. Right, okay, so people who are just one thing are boring or lying. There, I said it. If your character contradictions, sometimes make them behave in unexpected ways, but have it make sense. Does that sound like a challenge? It is, but there are ways to manage this. And when your character's choices follow an internal logic, even the most surprising decisions can be justified and, more importantly, believable. So Aristotle called this consistent inconsistencies, and contradictions can produce an internal conflict, which can be part of the drama of your story. And we've got some very simple examples here. The Indiana Jones, fearless except for a snake phobia, or a violent killer who adores and protects kids, or Hannibal Lecter has impeccable table manners but eats people. So when your character's choices follow an internal logic, even the most surprising decisions can be justified and believed. Motivation is what ties character to the plot. It's what drives them to make certain decisions, behave in certain ways, and drive your story forwards. So you want to know what is the character's goal and what will drive their action in the story, but also the motivation behind the action. Why do they do it in that particular way? And there are 3 levels of this that we're going to go through next: objective, desire that underlies that objective, and the super objective, which is what ties it all together and makes it logical. Any questions yet, Sam? Okay, so there are 3 levels of want. The character's objective, their goal for this scene or chapter, the desire that lies beneath that surface objective, and what Stanislavski called a super objective, which is the deepest and most profound desire that drives all the rest. So people and living, breathing characters may not be consciously aware of their super objectives, and if they are, they might be too ashamed to reveal them. Super objectives tend to be abstract and are often unobtainable, and tend to be expressed in terms of "I wish." Super objectives can ensure your character's actions remain consistent even when they surprise us and our readers. And the best super objectives connect our characters to the themes of our story. So, for example, in F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, Jay Gatsby wants to fit in with the wealthy elite, who's represented by his love interest Daisy. And the book's themes include class and class mobility and the American dream. And in Frankenstein, Victor Frankenstein's desire to know everything drives his actions. And then the dangers of such knowledge is one of the themes. So objective might be to get a makeover. The desire would be to be more attractive. The super objective, I wish to be loved. So the super objective is the one big thing the character wants. They may be unaware of it at a conscious level, or if they are aware, they might be embarrassed to reveal it to their family or in public. But it is the source of their more immediate and obtainable desires and objectives. Super objectives help us understand our characters and what makes them act. Super objectives allows us to ensure our characters' actions are consistent. And the best super objectives can connect our fictional characters with the themes of our story. Scarlett Thomas's book on writing Monkeys with Typewriters, again, I'll have a list of all the resources at the end, is very useful. And that's how I learned about super objective in the first place. Sam, I got a favor to ask you. On the right, there's a little thing in red. Would you read that? Because I can't see it.
Of course, because behind every surface objective lies a deeper desire, and behind this desire is something even more profound, Stanislavski's super objective.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions yet? Shall I move on? So that is the end of this workshop, and I hope everyone got something out of it. I've listed the books I refer to on this slide in case you want to read deeper on any of the points. If you want to stay in touch, you can find links to my social media on my website, which is at the bottom there, www.carmillavoiez.com. Looking at my watch, we've got a quarter of an hour left, so you can ask any questions. I think at this point, you're probably allowed to put up your hand if you want to say them out loud, or you can put them in the chat. And we can also chat about your character sketches or scenes if you want. But again, don't feel obliged to do that. This is for your benefit, and only if it will help you and you'll enjoy it, feel free to do so. Thank you very much.